Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. And of course, Argentina are 2 goals up against Poland. So round of 16 is actually sure for them. And for Mexico, they're also 2 goals up against Saudi Arabia. On the show today, of course, we'll focus on the FIFA World Cup taking place in Qatar. And also the Nigerian Women's Football League. It started today. And of course, defending champions started on a high. And was also touched down on the National Sport Festival. Precisely, that's where we are starting from, the National Sport Festival. The opening ceremony was just over some few hours ago. And of course, it was a fantastic one because guests from across the country were there. Athletes from around the country, across the country were also in attendance, especially states, with each athlete representing their state, and also the match past event that took place. I will not be doing all the talking alone. In the next 20 minutes of this program, Favour Itwa will be joining me from Port Harcourt. Of course, we'll be starting with the National Sport Festival. I remember Favour Itwa was actually at Edo 2020. We'll try to compare and see the opening ceremony of that and also this opening ceremony of Delta. Itwa, good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening, Cecilia. Good to be here. It's been a long time. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's been a long time, of course. I know you're enjoying the World Cup, but first, let's start off with the National Sport Festival. Just a few moments ago, the opening ceremony was done in Delta State. Of course, we saw thousands of athletes representing their states, all of them at the stadium. People are saying that Delta actually did something really wonderful because 3 weeks ago, or even 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, we were talking about the fact that it may just be postponed because of facilities were not ready. But hey, they said they were not going to postpone it. They said they were going to be ready. Opening ceremony was going to be on the 30th, and of course, they were able to pull it off.
Well, kudos first of all to the local organizing committee. They were fantastic. In ensuring that we do not postpone the National Sports Festival. Don't forget, it's a difficult time when you compare what is happening in the country at the moment. Politics setting in, election next year. So, for setting this particular festival, I think we need to commend them. I saw videos of the opening ceremony, and I must tell you, one thing stood out for me: the fact that Delta State and Edo State were once together. The last host was Edo State, so it's just only necessary for Delta to overdo what Edo State did last year, and it was good. It was wonderful. We saw a lot of kids come out, show their talent. Lots of activities, fun fair. But if you want to ask me this evening, I still prefer the opening ceremony of the Edo 2020 because we had the heritage of Benin shown to the world, especially with what we saw. We saw each and every state had a representative of a person who had, of course, the costume of the Edo and the great Benin Kingdom. So I think we saw more of the heritage of Benin being showcased than what we had here in Delta State. But nevertheless, we must also commend them. The main organizing committee, of course, we saw the Minister of Sport, Mr. Sonny Dari, also in presence. And trust me, he had a lot of color in the event. We can only expect that the game would be better than what we had last time.
Yeah, obviously pictures from Edo athletes, just rocking the music, enjoying themselves. I agree with you completely concerning the fact that we wanted to see more of the heritage from Delta State. We know you have the Isokos, the Urobos, the Ijos, the Shekiris. We wanted to see that, but we didn't really see that. But this is what they wanted to show everybody. This is their own way of their own opening ceremony. Yes, that's what they wanted to do. But I actually wanted to see that cultural aspect of the state. I believe that's what it is because it's the National Sports Festival. You want to see something that the state represents. But, it's a good one. Talking about the facilities that was ready on time. We thought this wasn't going to be possible. But, hey, they were able to pull this off. And, of course, the numbers of athletes, the kits that they use for the opening ceremony, the music, the dance, everything. It's a good one for Delta State. And, from, I think, a few months ago when the minister was talking about, they've extended invitations to Ghana, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, Benin Republic, and also Sierra Leone. They will be present in Delta State. I'm expected to actually see these athletes coming out, in Delta 2020. Of course, the Delta happens to be the defending champions, 158 gold, 116 silver and 110 bronze medal. That was what they got the last time. Let's see if they will be able to, win as much medals this time around and also retain it. They are hosting But then remember, it's the 6th time consecutively. I mean, they've been winning it for like forever. But let's listen to some of the athletes and also the fans, those people who are actually enjoying this National Sports Festival, what they are looking forward to.
What we need to do is, we Deltas, we like sports. If we come to sports, we really like sports. And we still want the coaches, the officiating to put more effort for us to keep it up. Because I can say that there is no state like Delta State. If you come to sports, Delta State is there. I can't aim another medal apart from gold. And we make Delta State proud once again.
I want to thank the Delta State government for a well-organized program. If you ask me, this is top-notch, it's fantastic, and it's world-class. The atmosphere here is simply exhilarating. As I was coming in, I saw people from Kaduna, Zamfara, and all parts of Nigeria. For me, this is the best mood for a sports festival. 100% performance from Team Delta. We have done it, we did it in Edo State. I'm not expecting anything less than that in Delta 2022.
Yeah, obviously happy 100% Team Delta. That's what it is. Of course, they're hosting. You always expect them to want to go out there and, of course, not just defend what they won last time and also win with so many medals. All right, time to talk about the FIFA World Cup, of course. Argentina, there are 2 goals up against Poland, and Mexico also 2 goals up against Saudi Arabia. But first, let's talk about what happened earlier today, especially with Tunisia beating world champions France by a lone goal. But then that was not enough to pull them through, because surprisingly, the team that is ranked number 10 in the world, semi-finalist at the European Championship, they could not beat Australia. They lost by a lone goal, and because of that, well, Australia are the ones that are joining France in the round of 16. And I believe when the group was done, no one could have thought that Australia would be the team that will join France in that group. Everyone was thinking it's going to be Denmark because of their performance at the European Championship. But it wasn't to be, because our player, a French-born player, Wahab Khazri, was the one who scored that 58-minute goal, and that was enough for Tunisia to beat France, but not enough to get them into the round of 16. Khazri actually grew up in Corsica in France. He played in Ligue 1 for Montpellier, and not just that, he's one of the 6 players in the Tunisian lineup who was born on French soil. I mean, he represented France at the under-21 level. Favor, sometimes when you know a team too much, that's what happens, because you have 6 of the players from Tunisia were born in France. But Tunisia being able to beat France earlier today, was it shocking for you? But then they are out of the World Cup. Even that was not enough.
For someone who did not watch that game, you might want to say, yes, shocking. But when I saw the lineup from the beginning of the game, I knew it was going to be a difficult one. 9 changes from the team that defeated Denmark by Didier Deschamps. He tried to, tweak his team and allow first-time appearances for some players, especially talking about Mandanda, who was in goal for France. And talking about Tunisia, I feel they wanted him more. They wanted him more, and they were able to, curtail the French team. But yes, it's an upset, whether we like it or not. I mean, France are the defending champions. But then you also look at the World Cup in the last few weeks. It has been also filled with upsets. We've seen upsets from the likes of, Japan at some point, getting the best out of Germany. We also saw, Saudi Arabia getting the best out of Argentina. I think for France, they underrated the Tunisians. They felt, with our second squad, we could defeat Tunisia. But Tunisia took the game to them, and it paid off. I mean, of course, we saw that goal from Wahab, and a fantastic finish from him, and he was able to, get that one. But then it was not enough for them, and I think they can also raise their head up high. The African teams have not really been so low when you compare what happened in 2018, where all the African teams and they were knocked out from the group stages. I think this time around, it's an improved performance from all the African teams, despite the fact that some have lost, some have also, drawn their game. We must also salute and commend what the North Africans are doing. Look at Morocco. Yeah. Look at the way they've been able to play. They've been able to also show the best of football in Africa. So in all, it's an interesting experience for the Tunisians. They can only tell themselves, we won the world champions. That's enough. And that we got our first goal in the tournament. Now, talking about Tunisia, this is the first goal. And also forgetting, I mean, they will also add to the number of teams, African teams that have defeated France. not forgetting what happened in 2002 when Senegal got the best of France. So it was really interesting, but then emotional when you consider the fact that with that goal was enough for them to qualify. Maybe they should have beaten Australia in their second game. Maybe, just maybe, they should have done the job there. But then at the end of the day, they will tell themselves they have opportunities to come back in the next edition of the World Cup.
All right, we'll go for a short break. We'll be back after this. Yeah, welcome back. And this is what the table looked like at the end of the 3 matches from Group D, where you have France with 6 points, Australia also on 6 points. Tunisia, of course, got 4 points. The first time they actually beat in the European Championships after 18 attempts at the World Cup. By the end of the day, that 4 points not enough. Denmark, the team ranked number 10 in the world, they are going home just with 1 point. Look at that, I've thought about this. We'll just get confirmation of the result, of course, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia, France, the way it ended. Yes, 2 sides won, but only one team was actually happy at the end of the day, and that happens to be Australia. And that's why their fans are really celebrating this, because it means so much to the fans in Australia. They never thought they would be there. That's a team that don't really have as much, they don't really have a superstar, yes. There is no superstar, but they played as a team. And of course, they were able to, get that. If we can see pictures from the fans who were celebrating outside the stadium, what it means so much to them. The player, Lecky, who scored that goal, talked about the fact that 2006, when they got into the round of 16, I mean, he believes that those teams were heroes. But this time around, they were also able to make it out. I'll just come to you here, Favor. For you, the Australians, I mean, Matthew Lecky scored that winner, 60th minute, and then who would have thought that Australia would beat Denmark? It wasn't thinkable at all.
Not at all. I mean, when you consider the squad, like you mentioned, not notable players are players who have names when it comes to football in the world. And you look at them, majority of them are, players who, of course, moved into Australia. Some of them of African descent, some of them of another country, but they nationalized and started playing for Australia. You could also remember how they qualified through the playoffs. And, thinking that, okay, they will get to the World Cup and just probably try and just add to the numbers. But then they told themselves they can actually create something. Since 2016 now, you would look at it and say, this is an interesting one. Some of these players were very, very young at 2006. Some of them were watching, quote and unquote, role models. Then they wanted to become maybe like some of the players they've been watching over time. But now look at where they are. They're the one writing history for themselves. And I think it really goes on to show how you can achieve a lot when you play as a team and as a unit. You must also salute the likes of Duke, who has been fantastic in front or for the Australian side. And then look, each and every department of the Australian team there's this cohesion between the defense, the midfield, and the attack. You could see that they are hungry for the balls. They want to get the balls. They want to make a statement. And I don't think any team should underrate them. They've come this far. They will now dare to dream and tell themselves they can actually go to the next round of the competition. Yes, it's going to be an uphill task. Any team they come against now in the next round, they will be the underdogs. But I think they prefer being an underdog because it will relieve the pressure on their shoulders and also put more pressure on the supposed bigger dogs or the team who is over favorite to win that particular game. So it's a good one for them. And I think, and they are also asking for an holiday. They're asking for holiday, hoping that they'll get something tomorrow from the government. But I don't know if that will be possible because, yes, they qualified to the round of 16. They've done it before, actually. And, not like, I mean.
This is different because of the group.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's just get confirmation of the games that are currently going on. Argentina, of course. Not only the Messi, yes, Messi is there, but he hasn't been able to score because what happened to him was he missed a penalty. At the end of the day, it was McAllister that stood up. He scored the first goal. And, of course, Alvarez also scored the second goal for Argentina. The 2 goes up. You also have Mexico and Saudi Arabia also. That game 2 goes up. But quickly, we touch down on the games for tomorrow. Morocco, all they need to do is to try as much as possible to avoid defeat. And then they will be in the round of 16, joining Senegal, another African country that already qualified. Now you have Costa Rica, Germany in action tomorrow. Germany also in danger of not getting to the next round. Japan and Spain will also be in action. But obviously our focus tonight is going to be on Morocco and Canada. Canada already being eliminated out of it. They lost the 2 games Belgium and Croatia will also be in action tomorrow night at 4 p.m. Nigerian time. But Morocco, Canada, Morocco, they know what to do. Just like what happened today for Tunisia. Yes, just win and see what's going to happen in the other one. But Morocco, they have everything, in their hands. All they have to do, try as much as possible to win this game. And if they're able to do that, they will be in the round of 16. Canada already out of the picture. But Belgium, of course, they've been struggling. The team came into the tournament as favorites, but right now they're struggling. Favor, quickly, for you on this one, a draw will definitely ensure that Morocco, they are in the round of 16 for the first time since 1986. Can they pull this off?
Yes, they can. I think they can. I mean, they have the squad. They have the quality in the squad. They have the spirit, the much, ginger spirit. And if you look at the squad, they're not an easy side where to beat. The interesting thing about the Moroccan side is the fact that they don't rely on just one man. Any wingers can score. Achraf Hakimi can also score. And one thing I think will work for them tomorrow is the fact that Canada done and dusted for them. Although they want to play for pride, to go back and tell themselves, yes, we are going to host the next World Cup, and we should be able to make a statement and say, yes, we came out of the tournament with our heads up high. But I think Morocco will be able to get the job done. I mean, their focus at the moment, Hakim Ziyech is on fire. He's banging in goals, and I think it's going to help the team also tomorrow. But another game to watch out for, of course, like you said, Croatia, Belgium. But for Morocco, just avoid defeat. But I don't want them to go into that game with the mind of avoiding defeat. Let them go for a win. If they don't get a win, they can settle for a draw instead of just going with the mindset of let's just avoid defeat and qualify to the next round. But Morocco, I think, will join Senegal tomorrow.
All right, before we go quickly, we'll touch down on the Nigerian Women's Football League. It started today. 6 games are played across a stadium in Nigeria. And of course, defending champions, they started so well. I'm talking about Bayelsa Queens, 2 goals over Rivers Angels. That was the big match for the day. Niger Rattles, a 3-1 win over Heartland Queens. For Osun Babes, it was 2-0 win over Rio Queens. And of course, all the games of the day, Nasarawa Amazons beating Edo Queens by a lone goal. Abia Angels and FC Robo also by a lone goal. And the game between Adamawa Queens and Ibom Angels ended 2-0 in favor of Adamawa Queens. Favor, a quick one on the wrap of the Nigerian Women's League match they won.
Yeah, 12 goals scored, all home wins. And interestingly, the teams who got promoted were not welcomed well. The likes of Ibom Angels and Heartland Queens, they were defeated away from home. But I must talk about the blockbuster game of the weekend. Talking about Bayelsa Queens and Rivers Angels, these two sides, perennial rivals. I mean, anytime they play, you always know that it's going to be difficult. For me, Bayelsa had the edge going into this game, knowing fully well that they've also played more number of competitive games coming into this one from the CAF Women's Champions League. But Rivers Angels, they were able to test some of their new players. Edafe was in the squad, Alexandra Flores, Abdul Rashid Rama, Miriam. These are some of the ladies who were, tested amongst the players signed for the season. I think with time, they will gel, but it's interesting to know that all home teams got wins. But we hope to see upsets come the match day too. Maybe we'll see away wins and away draws. But at the moment, it's interesting to know that we are on a rolling for the Nigerian Women's Football League.
Yeah, Favor, thank you so much for finding time to actually join me on the program tonight.
Thank you very much, Cecilia, for having me. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a good night rest.